And with me now to talk about it is Peter MacKay, former Foreign Affairs Minister. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, Lauren. Thank you.
So all eyes yesterday were on Marco Rubio as he tried to cast a message of unity at the Munich Security Conference, but he also didn't shy away from some criticism at some traditional allies. What did you make of his comments there?
That's right. It was a much more softer tone. It was there, I think, to placate some of the concerns that, frankly, have been floating around since J.D. Vance, the vice president's appearance at Munich a year ago, wherein he was very pointed in his criticism of Europe with respect to immigration, freedom of speech, other very blunt language. Rubio is a seasoned politician, and yet, as you alluded to, there was still an undertone of the United States of America being the most muscular in terms of its military, in terms of its diplomatic heft. And so there are some skeptics after his speech, but I think it set a much different tone in terms of the future relations. And he said, quite frankly, that we are not looking to pull away from the Western alliance. We are not looking to do anything other than see the European Union and NATO become much more capable to stand on its own.
Well, that softer tone that you describe did earn him a standing ovation after his speech. Did that surprise you? And does it indicate that his words were mostly well received by the crowd?
No, I think you've summed it up nicely, Lauren. I think it was very well received, particularly given the anxiety, I believe, that some were feeling that it would continue down sort of a Trumpian type of approach that we've seen from the Americans since the last U.S. election. And so he received that standing ovation, I think, as a clear indication that this was welcome news, music to the ears of the European nations who were there that have been feeling a lot of anxiety. And yet, there are some countries who I said are still, quite concerned about the abandonment that some are feeling, particularly Denmark, given the very real words of threat towards them over Greenland, and other countries, too, who want to see the United States play a more active role in the defense of Ukraine against the illegal Russian invasion.
So, yeah, speaking of Denmark, Canada also signed a deal in Munich with Denmark to work more closely on Arctic security and defense. What does that say to you about how Canada is focusing its foreign policy right now?
Well, I think after 10 years of really doing not very much around the Arctic, the Liberal government now is focused. They've opened, in unison with Iceland, a consul office in Greenland. They've also now signed this agreement. But it's actions, not words. Really, what we need to see is not more announcements and ribbon cutting. It's actual investment. It's actual Arctic military operations. It's actual capabilities on the terrain, the Russian tundra, or I'm sorry, the Arctic tundra, that are going to be able to repel Russian threats and Chinese threats, quite frankly, to your other reference in this newscast. There are very real, tangible efforts being made by our adversaries to come into the Arctic in a way that does not bode well for Canada, its resources, and its sovereignty.
All right, we'll leave it there. Peter, thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
That is Peter MacKay, former Foreign Affairs Minister.